Hello everyone, it's Alex. Hope everybody's doing well. Figured I would do a little review of my 1984 Toyota 4Runner. I had the truck a little less than a year. I'm actually trying to sell it right now. It'll be my first review. I'm trying to mix it up with the channel a little bit. And I also thought it'd be a little bit different. Instead of reviewing a newer car, review something a little older. So let's get going. A little hard to start. It's actually carbureted, so sometimes it hesitates a little bit to start. Alright, so let's get going here. Alright, so like I said, I've had this truck almost a year. November would be a year. I was actually prompted to buy it by one of my good friends. He's a big Toyota fanatic. He's always loved these trucks. He actually himself has a 1996 4Runner. He actually saw this online and sent me the link to it and said it'd be a cool truck to try out. At the time I was looking for a truck for the winter time and maybe to try a little off-roading with. Didn't have a whole lot to spend, but wanted something that was cool, but yet that was capable of getting through snow and doing some off-roading. So this truck was a little bit more than I wanted to spend for this type of truck. It's kind of like a classic Toyota truck. Basically, other than the FJ40, it's pretty much, at least I think, one of the most sought after Toyota trucks out there. It's actually the first generation 4Runner. Actually 1984 is the very first year of the 4Runner. So this one does have the solid front axle, and mine in particular has the carbureted 22R engine. This is my first vehicle I've driven and owned with a carburetor. It's a different experience. Lacks a little bit of the throttle response. Like I said, sometimes it's hard to start. Sometimes it'll sit for a week or so, and then you have to sit there and crank it for a little bit. But then again, it's also nice to work on, a little bit less to go wrong. Not as much electronics in 1984. Alright, so we're cruising along here. The truck is underpowered. It's 1984. It's basically a pickup truck with a cap on it and 2 extra seats. So I think it has about 95 horsepower. So it's got a little bit of torque for a 4-cylinder, so it's not horrible. It takes a while to get up to speed, but once it gets up to speed, it can hold it pretty well, as long as it's not towing anything. So here we're getting out onto a 55-mile-an-hour road, and we'll show you how slow it is. That was 25 and 35 and 45. Now actually we have to stop for a red light. Alright, we're finally back up to speed here. The truck is pretty neat. It's cool to drive something, kind of this old. It's really, a bare bones vehicle. Like I mentioned, the carburetor, it's a pretty cool truck to drive. It's very nostalgic. I mean, the interior with the fake velvet or whatever material it is, really, makes you feel like you're in the 80s. And it's also the oldest vehicle I've owned. It was made even before I was born. But one thing about this truck, you can tell how well put together it is, how well built it was back in '84. Vehicles these days, late 90s, early 2000s, the quality just isn't there compared to this truck. Whatever does go wrong is very easy to fix. It's not a 70s muscle car, but it's a cool old truck. So like I said, I bought this mainly to go off-roading a little bit here and there, and as well as mainly to get through the snow. When I bought it, the only thing I did to it was put tires on it. The truck is completely stock suspension-wise. It's not lifted. The only thing that is aftermarket is the tires, which are 31 by 10.5. I believe stock is about a 29-inch tire. So, it's a bit taller, which I'm sure, doesn't help for the acceleration either. But, I just bought all-terrain tires, and, I got it last year in November, so it was right when it was getting cold. And we got our first snow not too long after that. And this truck is just amazing in the snow. It tracks so well, and then everything is manually operated. The front hubs are manual locking hubs. The 4-wheel drive, you manually shift into it. So when you're in 4-wheel drive, you're in, and it's staying in. The other reason I bought it was to do some off-roading. I actually only took it off-roading once over in Roush Creek in Pennsylvania. I went with my friend who I mentioned earlier, who has a 96 4Runner. This truck just really surprised me and really amazed me, both for its age and the fact that it's a stock truck. I mean, other than tires, it's stock. My friend has, I want to say it's about a 4-inch lift, 33-inch tires, and pretty much everything he got through and got over, I followed right behind without an issue. And you know, even he was surprised that I was, you know, keeping up with him to that extent. So basically, if you want a truck that is, you know, great in the snow and it's a fun little off-roader, this is fantastic. It's kind of like the Jeep of imports. A lot of guys lift it, you know, go crazy with it and really make it a wheeler. You know, I just wanted it to be practical, to use it for, you know, to meet my needs. I guess now we can mention some of the bad stuff about the truck. As I said before, it takes forever to accelerate. I mean, if you're accelerating from a light, you know, merging onto a highway, you gotta have room. I mean, the thing is really slow. I'm used to driving sports cars. I have a 350Z that I track. I have a G37, so I'm used to something that has, you know, that can get out of its own way, and this really doesn't at all. But once you get used to that, you know, it's not a huge deal. So another thing that I'm not crazy about this truck, which is one of the reasons that I'm also selling it, is it sucks at towing. You put any weight on it and it's just that much slower. A friend and I have a dirt bike each, and a couple times I attempted to tow the 2 dirt bikes with our gear on a tiny trailer down to the track, which was about an hour away, and the accelerator pedal was basically to the floor the whole time. At that, we were doing about 60 miles an hour. So it's not practical for towing. So don't buy this truck thinking you're gonna be able to even tow a dirt bike, really, because you're not. Also, I can't stand the fact that it doesn't have a single cup holder, not one cup holder. I guess that was a thing back in the day. Maybe I'm too young to know about older vehicles, I don't know, but it doesn't have a single cup holder. It's a big problem for me because big coffee drinker in the morning, so when I get here in the morning, I literally have to wedge my coffee cup in between the seats and the center console here. It's spilled and it's just a disaster. This is just strictly because of its age. It's just that, you know, the seats are a little worn and, you know, not much cushion. It sucks at turning, and the steering response is kind of scary. I mean, I'm turning the wheel this much right now. I don't know if you can see. There you go with my other hand. And it's not doing anything. It's going straight. Actually, here we have a bend coming up, so I have to slow down a little bit. Let's get around it, and there we go. Brakes, they're okay. I feel like a lot of the problems that I complain about are due to the bigger tires that I put on it. So, you know, you add another 3-inch tire on it, and then, you know, another couple inches to the width, and you know, there's a lot more rolling resistance. So I mean, I don't know how this truck is with stock size tires. It may be fine to pull it, you know, something small, you know, some plywood, a couple 2x4s, whatever. I don't know. Overall though, the truck is a super fun truck to drive. It's a cool experience, you know, it's like a nostalgic experience. You feel really connected to it. I mean, everything is just so raw. It's controlled by you, and that's what I like about older vehicles. I like having control of the way I drive the vehicle, how it operates, and with this truck, you really are one with the truck. I mean, it's noisy. It's got a lot of road noise. It's just a really raw experience, and I really enjoy that about this truck. My overall opinion on this truck, if you can find one in good condition, you're looking, like I said, for something that's really cool to drive. It's a classic, but you don't want to spend $15,000, $20,000 on. It's a great happy medium, and it's also pretty useful and versatile. You can drive it every day if you wanted to. I personally don't, but you could drive it every day if you wanted to. It's the best vehicle I've driven in the snow. It provided for an awesome off-roading experience, outperformed, you know, my expectations. So that pretty much concludes my review of my 1984 4Runner. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave any comments you'd like down at the bottom. All right, well, thanks for watching and have a great day.